Whether you're just starting your build or you're looking for that final finishing touch, the EOS Performance Version 2 Package Rear Diffuser is the perfect addition to your 2024 and newer Mustang. Featuring aggressive styling, an easy installation process, OEM-type build quality, and an affordable price, this is a perfect addition to any build. The S650 Mustang is in general not a subtle car, but the factory rear diffuser leaves something to be desired. This one, however, solves that. You get larger cutouts for quad-tip exhaust, so if you already have a factory active exhaust, this is going to fit perfectly, or you can fill it out with a quad-tip aftermarket setup, and we've got plenty of those available if you're shopping. It also adds a handful of large fins down here in the center portion. These are really well defined and gives your car more that touring car, race car type of look, as the name suggests, evoking a much more performance-oriented style. Now this one also comes finished in matte black, as you see here, so it will serve as a great complement to any paint color or the perfect contrast or accent piece, especially if you're going for that blacked out look. And it's going to match with other trim that's already on the car. This one also does accommodate your factory reverse light down here in the center, your rear reflectors, and even your rear parking sensors if your car came so equipped, so it integrates almost like a factory piece. Construction is also a highlight here. The entire thing is made from ABS plastic, which is what makes up most plastic trim pieces on modern vehicles. ABS is widely used in this application because it's lightweight and it's strong, and it can also take a beating, which is important given where this sits on your car. The diffuser is also designed to fit like an OEM part, and it's even got backing on here, so this is not just your typical flimsy piece of ABS plastic, it's actually very solid. It comes ready to go with the necessary clip and attachment points already prepped, and it's designed to fit right in place of your original without having to modify anything on the car itself. Pricing comes in at about $400, making this a pretty affordable option in the market. If you want the look, it's going to be a heck of a lot less expensive than getting one from Ford, and you don't even have to worry about paint here either. It's ready to go right out of the box. Installation gets a 1 out of 3 on our difficulty meter, and the job should take you around 1 hour to complete. Now, like we were just discussing a few moments ago, this is going to bolt right up to your rear bumper in place of the factory valance. You will, of course, have to port over your rear parking sensors and that center light down at the bottom here, but it's not going to be a difficult job, especially once you've got it off of your car. Not much more I can say about it here, so let's head on out to the shop and we'll walk you through that process step by step.
Tools required for this install include a ratchet, Phillips head screwdriver, clip remover tool, plastic pry tool, an extension, and 7 and 10 millimeter sockets. Today we're installing a diffuser on our Mustang, so let's get started. So the first thing we need to do is remove the 9 7 millimeter screws under the middle of our bumper. So take a 7 millimeter socket and pull all of these out. Now next to our muffler on both sides, we've got 2 clips. So take a clip remover tool and pop those out. Do that same thing on the other side. Now we're gonna hop in our wheel well. We need to take out a few screws and then 1 clip. So I'm gonna grab a clip remover tool. Start by popping that clip out at the bottom. And then kind of right above that clip, there's a pocket right here where there's a 7 millimeter screw. So I've got a 7 millimeter socket and extension to remove that. And I'm going to take the extension off. We're going to move up to right in the middle of our side marker here. There's another screw. And then we'll go up top where our bumper meets the quarter panel. We've got 1 more screw. It's going to be hard to see. So now we can pull that fender liner back, and we've got 2 more screws right here. So I've got that extension and the 7 millimeter socket again to pull those out. and then do that same thing on the other side. So now we're ready to pull our rear bumper off. So we're just gonna pop out our two sides. We're gonna pull it back a little bit. We still have a connector for our bumper harness right under our passenger taillight, so don't yank on it when you pull it off. Now just right underneath of our taillight bracket on the passenger side, push in on that black tab and pop your connector off. So now with our rear bumper removed, we're gonna have to do a little bit of disassembly to get our diffuser detached from our bumper so we can get our new one in here. First thing we need to do is pop out this black support bracket here. Now it's gonna be the same on both sides. We've got a bunch of clips to remove. The only difference is on this side, we have the clip holding in our backup light. So I'm just gonna take a clip remover tool, start popping off all these clips. And then pop those clips off on the other side. And then right above our exhaust cutout, we've got this one clip that we need to pop out. We've got the same thing on the other side. So I'm just gonna get a plastic pry tool in there. Pry it back on that clip. And then do that same thing on the other side and we can lift this out. So now just get this around the wire harness and you can just pop it out. Next we're gonna pop out our parking sensors. Now it's important that these go back in the same holes that they came out of. We've got these labeled, we've got 3 lines and then 3 lines on our diffuser, 4 lines, 4 lines. Same thing on the other side with 1 and 2. So just press in on the tab on the connector, pop that out. And then we've got these 2 tabs that we're gonna need to pry back on to release our sensor. Same thing over here, and repeat on the other side. Next we can remove our side markers. We've got a 10mm nut here, so I'm gonna take a 10mm socket to remove that, and then we're just gonna pinch in on this clip to pop the other side out. Now I've got a hand underneath, pinch that clip together, and pop your reflector out. Do the same thing on the other side. Next we can remove our reverse light. So on this connector, it has a white locking tab, so you need to pull up on that first, and then press in on it, pop that connector off. And then we've got 4 7mm screws. Just grab 7mm socket and remove those. You can just pop that out. Next we can pop out these 2 white clips. So just take the corner of a plastic pry tool to push in on the clip and then just pop it out through the top. Do that same thing on the other side. Now on the outside corner of our bumper, we've got 3 screws here. It's gonna be the same on the other side. Grab a 7mm socket and remove those. And then repeat on the other side. So now we've just got all these little clips that we need to pop out all the way across to remove our diffuser. So you can just kind of press on them, pop them out. Do the same thing on the other side and then we can pop this out. So now with all those clips released, you can pull up on your bumper and down on your diffuser and separate them. So now we need to start assembling our diffuser. I'm gonna start out with a bunch of these little U-clips that we need to put on to a bunch of different spots on our diffuser so that we can run screws into. So I'm gonna start at the bottom here. We've got 5 clips that we need to install. Now this is the piece that's gonna be mounting there. So we're gonna have our screws coming in from this way. So we need that little threaded portion of the clip facing down. Slide these onto all the spots that have that little cutout there. And then we can lay this piece down and run our screws into those. So now we're just gonna lay that piece down. I'm gonna take my screws with flat washers and thread those in. And then we're just doing that same thing for all 5 of our clips. I'm just loosely threading these in until I have all 5 in and lined up, and then I'll go back and fully tighten them down. Now we're going to take some more of our clips for the piece that we just installed. Now these are going to be the ones that bolt up to the car. So we're going to have the threaded portion facing us if we have the diffuser in this orientation. Next we're going to install our side pieces. We've got these 2 slots that are going to go onto these 2 clips. And then we've got our holes that are going to line up here for our screws to go through. We're going to get the clips in first. And then we're using the smaller screws that are included in the kit and threading those in. Do that same thing on the other side. Now we've got 3 more spots on here that we're going to be installing our clips on. Do the same thing on the other side. So now we're going to take our bumper, we're going to lift it onto the diffuser, lining up all our clips, and then we're just going to press it in to engage all of those clips. Next we're going to come to the sides and thread in our 3 screws. Got my screw and a washer. Using a Phillips head screwdriver to run it into those clips that we installed before. Do that same thing on the other side. Now we're going to take our white clips and reinstall them into these 2. We have new clips included in the kit. Do that same thing on the other side. Next we're going to reinstall our parking sensors. Once again, make sure you put them in the same order that you took them out. So I'm going to connect that in first, and then press that down into place. Pinch your tabs and make sure that they're locked into place. Repeat on the other side. Next we're going to take our reflectors and pop those into place. Push that clip in. Thread your nut on and tighten it down with a 10mm socket. And do the same thing on the other side. Now we can reinstall our reverse light. And we're going to thread in our screws with flat washers. And now we'll reconnect our reverse light and then press down on that white locking tab. Now we can reinstall that support bracket. Get my wire harness out from under it, and then we can engage it into those clips. Now I'll just clip in all those clips back into there. Got the two on the sides. And then the one for our reverse light. So now we're ready to get our rear bumper back onto our Mustang. I'm going to start with our wire harness connector. Press that in so you hear the click, and then we'll lift this into place. So now I'm just going to get this lined up. Press that into place, and then we'll get our sides clipped in. Now we're going to start off in the wheel well. We've got these 3 holes. We're only going to be installing the top and the bottom right now. The center one's going to be for that pocket and the fender line. Thread your 2 screws in, and then take your 7mm sockets, tighten them down. Pull down your fender liner, and we'll reinstall our bolts. So now I'm going to start at the top, reconnecting my bumper to the quarter panel. And then I'm going to thread in this bolt. I'll reinstall my clip at the bottom of the fender liner. And then I'm going to grab my extension with the 7mm socket to thread in the screw in the pocket. Then we'll repeat that process on the other side. Now we're going to come over next to our muffler, bend that piece up, and reinstall our 2 clips. Same on the other side. Now we just need to reinstall our bolts and screws on the bottom here. Now on the 2 outside, we're going to be reinstalling our factory screws. These 2 in here, we're going to reuse those shorter factory screws. And then for the 5 in the carpet, we're using the Phillips head screws and flat washers from our kit. So I'm using a 7mm socket to get these threaded in. I'm going to throw my ratchet on the other side, tighten those down. Now I'm going to grab my Phillips head screws and flat washers, line up my carpet with the U-clips, start threading those in. So that'll wrap up this review and install of the EOS Performance version 2 Package Rear Diffuser in matte black for your 2024 or newer Mustang. Thank you for watching, and for all things Mustang, keep it right here at AmericanMuscle.com.